The way that I think about launching, and I thought about it from the first year in my business with the 3 launches that I shared with you just a few minutes ago, is instead a launch is something that you use to make sales and to build your audience. So it helps you grow your business. So it's not an event that you have to get ready for. It's a strategy that you use to grow your business and your brand and your reputation while also making sales. And on top of that, it's just another way for you to offer something in your business that might be easier, might be more accessible for people who are not the right fit, or maybe who aren't ready to invest yet in your higher end coaching, consulting, or done for you services. Let's talk about first the 3 most common course creator mistakes. Mistake number 1 is to create a massive, what I call signature course. And that's a course where you just teach your most comprehensive A to Z framework for whatever it is that you help someone with. And I mean, it makes sense, right? You want to give your best, you want to create the best course possible. And you've probably seen a lot of course creators out there with their flagship signature courses, myself included, and are thinking, okay, that's the way I have to go if I want to create a really high quality product. However, that is one of the worst mistakes possible for a few reasons. First of all, it takes so much time to create. To put this into perspective, my flagship product called Employee to Entrepreneur, it took me about 3 to 4 years before I got it to a point where I thought it was like perfect. And those 3 to 4 years not only required a lot of time and resources, I invested tens of thousands of dollars in creating the product, customizing it, having my team help me build it. It also took about over 1,000 students going through it and us testing, getting feedback, seeing how else to make it really good before I was like, okay, this is it. So it's really resource intensive. Also, it's harder to sell, especially when you're starting out. Maybe you're not as confident, you're not as established, right? A signature course like that is higher priced. They often go for $1,000, $2,000, sometimes even more. And it can be harder to sell than something that is relatively lower priced, maybe for a few $100s. And then finally, it's actually harder for customers to go through as well because there's so much stuff. It's really dense. And so it might take your students longer to go through, and which translates into longer to getting the results and testimonials that you really want to get as quickly as possible to help you build your reputation for your business and your product as quickly as possible. Oh, wrong way. And then not only that, there's also the mental cost of what it takes to do it this way, because you spend all this time creating it. And then you're wondering, okay, did I create something that people are actually going to want? Or am I spending all this time creating it and then it's just going to totally flop, right? And then if it does, and then you don't have that relationship with your audience where they're wanting to buy from you, then you might be tempted to give up. Your offer might flop, and you've just put all this time and effort into building an audience and creating a product and not gotten the results that really should accompany that. So with all of that said, that's why having the right first offer is just as important as having the right strategy, which is why we're starting here. And what I recommend starting with is what I call a first steps course. It's essentially what someone needs to get the result, like the first step of the result. Okay. And so, for example, if your signature course down the road will be to teach someone to lose 50 pounds, maybe the first steps course is to just drop a dress size or 2. That's an example like that. Now, the benefits of this are there's so many. It's easier for you to create, right? It's shorter. It can be a little bit more compact. It's going to be easier for you to sell because it's a faster result, which just makes it psychologically easier to commit to. You can charge a lower price point as well to be fair to you and, of course, your students. And like we mentioned earlier, it's going to be easier for your students to implement as well because it's shorter. So they can be more excited about it, they can get it done, and then they can get the result even faster. So that is mistake number one. Mistake number two is, as I mentioned before, thinking that you have to spend all this time first building an audience, getting to thousands of people on your email list or whatever platform you're using before you can then build a course and then sell it, taking a really long time. Now, it makes a lot of sense why you might think this. And I remember at the beginning of my first online business, I thought the same way. I was like, okay, how do I go out there, build an email list and get to thousands of email subscribers first? And you've probably heard a lot of advice on like the numbers. Like if you have this many people in your audience and you convert 1%, then if you want to make X sales, then you can just reverse engineer into how big your audience should be. You might also be thinking, well, I want to create the best product possible. And the only way to create that is, of course, to have the product done first so that I can sell it and it just works really well. And I know it's going to be good. Again, things that I have gone through and I've seen pretty much for every new course creator I've ever worked with. And that's good. It means you want to do your best. However, waiting like that is really what I call a kiss of death. I mean, obviously I didn't come up with that term, but it really is. And there are a few reasons for that. First, this is so important. The way that you set up the relationship with your audience is going to be something you want to start from the very beginning, right? You're always going to want your audience to know that you're going to give incredible value. That's a given. However, you don't want them to expect that you're only always going to give stuff for free because you're in business, you're going to be selling things, and you want people to know that it's going to be a great combination of free content and then when and if they're ready for more paid content. You also aren't going to know if you're not selling earlier on, if you're building the right audience, right? You're just going to be building your audience. They might not be the right fit for you. They might not be people who are going to want to buy down the road. You're not going to know. And then like we talked about earlier, the whole time you're doing this, you're going to be just having that doubt in your head. Am I doing the right thing? Is my course going to sell? Is all this effort going to pay off? And it builds up and compounds in a really, really negative way. And so I want you to think about launching in a different way today than maybe you might have thought about before. So maybe you were thinking before, and this is really common, that a launch is something that you have to build up to get ready for. The way that I think about launching, and I thought about it from the first year in my business with the 3 launches that I shared with you just a few minutes ago, is instead a launch is something that you use to make sales and to build your audience. So it helps you grow your business. So it's not an event that you have to get ready for. It's a strategy that you use to grow your business and your brand and your reputation while also making sales. And on top of that, it's just another way for you to offer something in your business that might be easier, might be more accessible for people who are not the right fit, or maybe who aren't ready to invest yet in your higher end coaching, consulting, or done for you services. So really reframing that. And when you think about that way, when you think about it that way, then it becomes about, okay, great. How soon can I launch versus, my gosh, let me build up to a launch and then hope for the best. So really important reframe here. Now, with that brings us to mistake number 3, which is the final mistake before we get into the strategy. And that mistake is really making sure that you're not choosing the wrong launch strategy for you. There's a time and a place for different strategies, and they're all great. It's just about identifying where you are and the best one for you. So there are a few popular launch strategies that you might have heard of before. One of them is to simply write emails, maybe add some social media posts as well. And again, you might see people who have big audiences doing just that. These days, honestly, a lot of my launches are email only. But the thing is, I have a pretty significant audience on my email list. And so this is not a launch I would have done earlier on in my business. Or maybe you have seen people say, okay, just run a webinar. Again, I love webinars. I'm a big fan of them. But when you're starting out, you're not as confident in your sales, you're working on your webinar and marketing skills, then you're leaving a lot to chance, and having it all right on a webinar is not going to set you up for the most success. Or maybe you're thinking about doing a video series. And again, there's a time and a place for that. But I found that that works better when first you have more resources to invest in video. You've got more confidence in being on video and can get it to look really good and polished. And again, when you have a bigger audience so that you can simply send them the videos, the right people can connect with them, and then the right people who want more can buy as well, right? So again, there's a time and place for all of them. However, when you are wanting to sell a new group program or course, when you're newer, when you're working on your own marketing, sales, copywriting skills, and you're wanting to just maximize your engagement and sales, what I recommend is a live challenge. Now, here's the thing. Back when I started doing live challenges, they were not that common. Nowadays, more and more people are doing them, which is awesome because they work. That being said, there are right ways and wrong ways to do it. And one of the most common mistakes I see is basically thinking a challenge is just you giving a prompt every day and hoping that people will get enough out of it that they end up buying. That is not what you're going to do. We're going to talk about what to actually do, because there are specific things that you want to cover in your challenge to not only give people the best value, but also prime them to want your offer at the end.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you truly enjoyed it. I'm Alessio Pieroni and I'm the founder of Scale for Impact and obviously of Scale with Alessio. In this channel you can find some of the most amazing marketing content, the content that will help your online education business to go to the next level. And if you want to see other videos like this one, please subscribe to this channel. It means really the world for us. And please also comment below and tell us how you found this video. It's truly important. If on the other side you want to go to the next level and you actually want to make sure that you can watch the entire talks from the Scale series, you want to see over 50 speakers, people that have been changing the entire marketing landscape, and see exactly how these can take your business to the next level, please subscribe to the Scale series. For just $99, you're gonna get the chance to see some of the most amazing speakers, and on top of that, get a lot of other bonuses. You're gonna have 3 amazing books completely for free inside that, tens of hours of other marketing training, all of it for just $99. Literally, that's just $2 per talk. And we're not talking about random speakers. We're talking about people like Jay Abram, people like Alex Cattoni, Vishen Lakhiani, Jeff Walker, Perry Marshall, Rich Sheffrin, Molly Pittman, Murray Smith. Incredible people that change the entire marketing landscape right now at your fingertip for just $2 each. So don't wait anymore. It's time for you to get the Scale series. See you there and upgrade your marketing knowledge.